Captain Hyunwoo stared at the message on his screen. His hands shook slightly as he read the words again. The Galactic Council had made their decision. 12 human colony worlds would be given to the Vorthak Empire. The humans living there had 72 hours to pack up and leave everything behind. Sir? Lieutenant Jae-min looked at his captain with worried eyes. What are your orders? Hyunwoo closed his eyes for a moment. The bridge of the human ship Resilience was quiet. Everyone waited for him to speak. Outside the windows, space looked peaceful, but peace was about to end. Send a message to Earth, Hyunwoo said. His voice was steady, but inside he felt angry. Tell them the Vorthak have made their move. The Resilience was not a big ship. Compared to the massive alien warships, it looked like a toy. The human fleet always looked weak next to the other races. Their weapons were old. Their armor was thin. The aliens often laughed at human ships, but Hyunwoo knew something the aliens did not know. He had sworn to keep this secret with his life. Every human officer had made the same promise. On Earth, Admiral So-young walked into a room deep underground. The room had no windows. No one could see in or out. Only a few people in the entire galaxy knew this place existed. They called it the Shadow Room. Around a metal table sat 12 people. Each one was someone important in the human military. They wore normal clothes, not uniforms. If anyone saw them, they would look like regular citizens. But these 12 people controlled the real power of humanity. The Vorthak want our colonies, So-young said as she sat down. They think we will just give up and run away. General Wu Jin laughed. He was a big man with gray hair. Let them think that. We have been waiting for this moment for 30 years. Dr. Tae-hyun looked up from his tablet. He was younger than the others, but his brain held secrets that could change everything. Project Nightfall is ready. The quantum weapons are online. We can tear holes in space itself. Good. So-young looked around the table. How long until the real fleet is ready? Commander Dong-hyun smiled. The Ghost Fleet has been ready for months. 800 ships all hidden behind quantum shields. The aliens have no idea we even built them. Captain Yoon-ji opened a file on her computer. Our spies are in position on every major alien world. We know where their ships are. We know their weaknesses. We know their plans before they do. So, Young nodded. For decades, humans had played a careful game. They showed the galaxy only old ships with weak weapons. They acted scared when aliens threatened them. They begged for mercy instead of fighting back. Every alien race thought humans were pathetic. This was exactly what humans wanted them to think. The Vorthak Empire has ruled through fear for 200 years, So-young said. They destroy anyone who stands up to them, but they have never faced a real challenge. They think power means big ships and loud threats. They are about to learn that real power means knowing when to hide your strength, General Wu Jin added. Far away, on the colony world of New Busan, Administrator Hyejin watched families pack their belongings. Children cried as they said goodbye to their homes. Parents looked angry and helpless. The scene looked heartbreaking. But Hyejin knew the truth. Half of these families were soldiers in disguise. The children were young warriors trained in secret. The belongings they packed included weapons that could destroy entire cities. Ma'am, a young girl tugged on Hyejin's shirt. Are the bad aliens really going to take our home? Hyejin knelt down to look at the girl. Her name was Yoo-jin, and she was 8 years old. She was also one of the most dangerous people on the planet. The small toy in her hand could control defense systems hidden across the colony. Don't worry, Hyejin said softly. The bad aliens think they are taking our home, but we are going to teach them a lesson they will never forget. The girl smiled. Will we get to show them our real toys? Very soon, Hyejin promised. On the alien news networks, reporters talked about the human surrender. They showed pictures of the weak human ships. They laughed at how quickly humans gave up when threatened. Once again, the humans prove they are the weakest race in the galaxy, said one Vorthak news anchor. Their so-called military cannot even protect their own colonies. Perhaps it is time to question why such a weak species deserves any space at all. Other alien races watched and nodded in agreement. The crystalline hierarchy had always looked down on humans. The machine unity considered humans inefficient. The psychic dominion thought human minds were too simple. None of them knew about the secret meeting happening in another underground room on Earth. Dr. Tae-hyun stood in front of a massive computer screen. The screen showed technical drawings that would have made alien scientists weep with envy. Quantum fold technology, matter displacement fields, weapons that could erase things from reality itself. The aliens think their plasma cannons and missile systems are advanced, Tae-hyun explained to his team. They build bigger and bigger guns, thinking size equals power. They have no idea that we learned to break the rules of physics itself. His assistant, Dr. Min Seo, looked worried. Are you sure this will work? We have never tested the quantum weapons in real combat. It will work, Tae-hyun said with confidence. We have run millions of computer tests. The math is perfect. When we fire these weapons, they will not just destroy alien ships. They will make those ships stop existing. Meanwhile, Captain Minho sat in his ship's captain chair. His vessel was called the Defiance, and it looked like every other human ship the aliens had seen. Old metal hull, simple weapons, weak shields, but Minho knew better. Sir? His weapons officer called out. Should we run another test of the hidden systems? Not yet, Minho replied. We cannot risk the aliens detecting anything unusual. They must keep thinking we are helpless until the moment we show them the truth. The Defiance flew slowly through space, just like a weak human ship should. But hidden beneath its normal-looking hull were weapons that could crack planets in half. The simple-looking crew were actually some of the best warriors humanity had ever trained. Back on Earth, Ambassador Jin-ae prepared for her performance. She was about to speak to the Galactic Council, and she needed to seem desperate and afraid. This was the hardest part of the plan, looking weak when you held all the power. Jin-ae practiced her speech in front of a mirror. Please, honored council members, surely there is another way. Humanity has always been peaceful. We ask only for mercy. The words tasted bad in her mouth, but they were necessary. Every time she begged, every time she showed fear, the aliens became more sure that humans were no threat. This made them careless. Careless enemies make mistakes. Admiral So Young watched Jin-ae practice and felt proud. You are the greatest actor in human history. When this is over, the galaxy will remember your performance. When this is over, Jin-ae replied, I hope I never have to pretend to be weak again. In space, the Vorthak war fleet moved toward human territory. Their ships were massive and covered with weapons. War Commander Garrick stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking forward to an easy victory. How long until we reach the human colonies? Garrick asked. 60 hours, sir, his navigation officer replied. Our scouts report that human defense ships are already running away. Garrick laughed. Of course they are. Humans always run when faced with real warriors. This will be easier than conquering a moon full of children. His officers laughed with him. The Vorthak had destroyed hundreds of worlds. They had crushed dozens of alien races. Humans would be just another easy victory to add to their list. But in the hidden shipyards scattered across distant star systems, the real human fleet waited in silence. Admiral Dong-hyun walked through the corridors of his flagship, the Thunderbolt. This ship was 3 times larger than any vessel the aliens had ever seen. Its weapons could destroy entire moons. Status report, Dong-hyun called out. All Ghost Fleet ships are ready, sir, Commander Hae-won replied. 800 vessels, all equipped with quantum stealth systems. The enemy cannot see us until we choose to be seen. And our crews? Ready for combat, sir. They have been training for this day their entire lives. Dong-hyun smiled. Good. Soon the galaxy will learn what happens when you push humans too far. The countdown continued. 72. Hours became 60, then 50, then 40. Every hour that passed brought the moment of truth closer. On human worlds, families continued their fake evacuations. Children practiced looking sad while secretly checking their hidden weapons. Adults pretended to cry while making final preparations for war. On alien worlds, news reporters counted down the hours until humanity's final humiliation. They prepared special broadcasts to show the weak humans being crushed by Vorthak might. In government buildings across the galaxy, alien leaders made plans to divide up human territory after the Vorthak were finished. Everyone wanted a piece of what the humans would leave behind. But in the Shadow Room on Earth, Admiral So Young and her team made very different plans. "Remember," she told the group, "we only get one chance to reveal our true strength. The moment we show the aliens what we really are, everything changes forever. There will be no going back to hiding." "Are we ready for that?" asked General Wu Jin. So Young looked around the table at the faces of humanity's greatest military leaders. Each one had spent decades preparing for this moment. They had sacrificed their entire life. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with excitement. Representatives from dozens of alien races gathered to watch humanity's final humiliation. Giant screens showed the Vorthak war fleet moving through space like a storm of metal and death. Ambassador Jin A walked slowly to the speaking platform. Her shoulders were bent like someone carrying a heavy weight. Her eyes looked red as if she had been crying. The alien delegates whispered and pointed at her, enjoying her obvious distress. "Honored council members," Jin A began, her voice shaking, "I come before you today to beg for mercy. The Vorthak demand has put my people in an impossible situation. We have nowhere else to go." War Commander Garrick's image appeared on the main screen. He was calling in from his flagship, wanting to speak to the council himself. His face was covered in the ritual scars that marked Vorthak warriors. His eyes burned with cruel joy. "The humans have had their time," Garrick announced. "Now they must face the consequences of being weak in a strong galaxy. My fleet will reach their colonies in 18 hours. If they are not gone, we will remove them permanently." The crystalline delegate from the hierarchy spoke with a voice like breaking glass. "Perhaps this is natural selection at work. Weak species should make room for strong ones." The machine representative from the Unity agreed with electronic sounds. "Inefficient biological units require replacement by superior models." Ginny fell to her knees on the platform. "Please, surely there must be another way. Humanity has always sought peace. We have never threatened anyone." The alien delegates laughed. Some made jokes about human weakness. Others placed bets on how quickly the Vorthak would finish their conquest. None of them noticed the small smile that crossed Jinne's face for just a moment. On Earth, Admiral So Young watched the council session from the Shadow Room. "She is perfect," So Young said with admiration. "The aliens have no idea they are." Watching the greatest performance in galactic history, Dr. Taehyun looked up from his computers. "All quantum systems are green. The moment you give the word, we can begin the revelation." "Not yet," So Young replied. "Let them get closer. Let them think victory is certain. The more confident they become, the greater their shock will be." In space, Captain Hyunwoo received new orders from Earth Command. His mission was simple: make the human fleet look as pathetic as possible. Let the Vorthak see exactly what they expected to see: weak ships with frightened crews. "Attention all vessels," Hyunwoo broadcast to the human fleet. "Remember your training. Look scared. Act desperate. Give them a show they will never forget." The human ships moved in formation, but they moved slowly and clumsily. They positioned themselves like amateur captains who had never seen real combat. Their weapons powered up to minimum levels, barely enough to tickle the paint on Vorthak armor. Captain Minho sat in his command chair aboard the Defiance. His ship looked like it might fall apart if someone sneezed on it. But beneath the fake rust and deliberately damaged hull plating, systems that could remake reality itself waited for activation. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "it feels wrong to look this weak when we could destroy their entire fleet in minutes." "Patience," Minho replied. "A tiger does not roar before it pounces. It waits, it watches. Then it strikes so fast that prey never knows what killed them." On the colony, world of New Busan, Administrator Heejin continued the evacuation performance. News cameras from across the galaxy recorded crying families and desperate humans loading possessions onto transport ships. But the cameras could not see what was really happening. The desperate families were actually elite military units taking final positions. The crying children were young soldiers making last-minute weapon checks. The transport ships carried enough firepower to level continents. 8-year-old Eugene played with her toy while her mother packed clothes into a suitcase. To anyone watching, it looked like a normal family preparing to flee their home. They had no idea that Eugene's toy could control planetary defense systems, or that her mother was actually Colonel Hyrin, one of humanity's deadliest special forces commanders. "Mommy," Eugene said loudly for the cameras. "Why do the bad aliens want to take our home? Because they think we cannot stop them, sweetheart." Hyrin replied, also speaking for the cameras. "But sometimes grown-ups are wrong about children." The Vorthak fleet drew closer. Their ships were massive, dark things covered in weapon turrets and armor plating. Each vessel could destroy cities with single shots. Garrick commanded over 300 such ships, enough firepower to crack planets. "Status report," Garrick demanded from his command throne. "Human defenses are exactly as expected, sir," his tactical officer reported. 47 small vessels with outdated weapons. Their energy signatures suggest they are barely capable of interplanetary flight. Garrick laughed. "Pathetic. Are they even trying to put up a defense?" "They appear to be forming some kind of battle line, sir, but their positioning is amateur at best. My analysis suggests they have no real military training." "Excellent. This will be even easier than destroying cargo haulers." What Garrick did not know was that every human ship carried sensors far more advanced than anything the Vorthak possessed. They were recording every detail of the alien fleet: ship positions, weapon configurations, shield frequencies, communication patterns. This data flowed back to hidden human computers that calculated the perfect way to destroy each vessel. Commander Dong Hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship in the secret human fleet. The Thunderbolt was currently invisible, hidden behind quantum stealth technology that made it undetectable to any known sensors. Around him, 800 identical vessels waited in perfect silence. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving detailed scans of the Vorthak fleet. Our tactical computers are identifying optimal strike points." "How long to calculate complete battle plans?" Dong Hyun asked. 17 minutes, sir. We will know how to destroy every enemy ship before they even know we exist." The galaxy watched, with fascination as events unfolded. News networks provided constant updates on humanity's impending doom. Alien betting pools reached record levels as people wagered on how long human resistance would last. "I give them 5 minutes," laughed a crystalline broadcaster. "Humans have never shown any real fighting spirit." "Too generous," replied his mechanical co-host. "Analyzing historical data suggests human surrender within 90 seconds of first contact." On hundreds of worlds, alien families gathered around screens to watch the entertainment. Children pointed at the human ships and asked their parents why they looked so silly. Adults explained that humans were just naturally weak and cowardly. But, in the deepest laboratories on Earth, Dr. Taehyun made final adjustments to weapons that would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about physics. "Quantum fold cannons are at full charge," he reported to his team. "Matter displacement fields are stable. Reality anchor systems are online." Dr. Min Seo checked her instruments. "Sir, these power readings are beyond anything we have ever achieved. Are you certain the weapons will not tear holes in space-time itself?" "Oh, they will definitely tear holes in space-time," Taehyun replied with a smile. "That is exactly what they are designed to do. The question is whether we can control those holes well enough to only erase our enemies." Back in the council chamber, Jin-A continued her performance. She offered the Vorthak tribute: rare metals, advanced technology, even human slaves if they would spare the colonies. Garrick's image on the screen showed open contempt. "Humans have nothing we want except the space you currently occupy. You are insects asking an exterminator for mercy. But surely reasonable beings can find a peaceful solution," Jin-A pleaded. "Peace is for equals," Garrick snarled. "You are not our equals. You are obstacles to be removed." The alien delegates applauded Garrick's words. They loved watching the proud Vorthak put humans in their place. None of them noticed that Janae's hands never shook, despite her apparently terrified voice. None of them saw the coldness in her eyes that appeared whenever she thought no one was looking. Captain Yunji sat in her intelligence center, monitoring communications across the galaxy. Every major alien power was discussing what to do with human territory after the Vorthak finished their conquest. The crystalline hierarchy wanted the mining worlds. The Unity desired planets suitable for machine construction. The Dominion claimed the worlds with the most psychic potential. They are already dividing up our territory, Yunji reported to Admiral So Young. Perfect, So Young replied. The more they focus on what they will steal from us, the less they think about what we might do to them, Yunji smiled. Should I activate our deep cover agents? Not yet. Let the aliens keep believing their own superiority. In a few hours, they will learn that every assumption they have made about humanity is catastrophically wrong. The Vorthak fleet entered human space. Their ships moved in perfect formation, confident in their power. Garrick stood on his bridge, watching the pathetic human defense force ahead of them. Open a channel to the human fleet, he ordered. Captain Hyun-woo's face appeared on Garrick's screen. The human captain looked nervous and afraid, exactly as Garrick expected. Human, Garrick growled, you have one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to be destroyed quickly. Resist, and we will make your debt. War Commander Garrick stood on his bridge, watching the pathetic human fleet ahead of him. 47 small ships arranged in a defensive line that looked like children playing at war. His tactical computers showed that human weapons could barely dent Vorthak armor. This would be over in minutes. All ships prepare to fire, Garrick commanded. Target their largest vessels first. Let them watch their champions die before we finish the rest. The Vorthak fleet powered up their weapons. Massive plasma cannons that could melt mountains began to glow. Missile tubes loaded with planet crackers opened like hungry mouths. 300 warships prepared to unleash hell upon the humans. Captain Hyun-woo sat in his command chair aboard the Resilience. His crew looked terrified just as they had practiced. But beneath their fear was something else, excitement. After decades of hiding, they were finally going to show the galaxy what humans really were. Sir, his tactical officer said with a shaking voice that was not entirely fake. Enemy weapons are charging. They will fire in 60 seconds. Hyun-woo nodded slowly. He touched the communication device on his wrist and spoke 4 words that would echo through galactic history. Remove the limiters now. Across the human fleet, the same message arrived at exactly the same moment. In 47 ships, hidden systems suddenly came online. Fake hull plating began to slide away, revealing surfaces that seemed to bend light itself. Energy signatures that had read as almost zero suddenly spiked beyond anything Vorthak sensors could measure. The Resilience transformed before Garrick's eyes. What had looked like a barely functional cargo hauler revealed itself as something beautiful and terrible. Weapons that defied known physics emerged from hidden compartments. Shield generators that created barriers in multiple dimensions powered up with a sound like reality itself was screaming. What in the void? Garrick whispered. His tactical officer stared at his instruments in disbelief. Sir, the human energy readings are impossible. These ships are showing power levels that exceed our entire fleet combined. That cannot be correct. Run a full sensor sweep. I am, sir. The readings are accurate. These are not the same ships we were scanning 5 minutes ago. But the real shock came when Admiral So Young gave the order from Earth. Ghost Fleet decloak. In space around the Vorthak fleet, reality began to tear. What had appeared to be empty vacuum suddenly filled with massive shapes as quantum stealth. Fields deactivated. 800 human dreadnoughts materialized from nothing, each one larger than the biggest Vorthak city ship. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's greatest secret. Ships built in hidden yards scattered across distant star systems. Vessels that incorporated technology the galaxy had never seen. Weapons that could erase things from existence itself. Garrick's bridge fell silent. His officers stared at their screens as if looking at ghosts. The human fleet that had numbered 47 weak ships now showed over 800 vessels, that made Vorthak dreadnoughts look like toys. "How many ships are out there?" Garrick asked, in a voice barely above a whisper. 847, sir," his sensor officer replied. "Each one is showing weapon signatures beyond our ability to classify." Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the Defiance. His ship had shed its disguise like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. Where rust and damage had been, now sleek armor reflected the light of distant stars. Weapons that existed beyond current galactic understanding hummed with barely contained power. "Target the Vorthak flagship," Minho ordered. "Let us introduce them to human engineering." On the colony world of New Busan, Dr. Tai Hyun activated the first quantum fold cannon. The weapon did not look like much. A simple metal dish pointed at the sky. But when it fired, it did something that should have been impossible. The beam that emerged was not made of energy or matter. It was made of folded space-time itself. When it struck the nearest Vorthak cruiser, the ship did not explode. It did not burn. It simply stopped existing. One moment, a massive warship hung in space. The next moment, there was nothing. Not debris, not energy signatures, not even empty space where the ship had been. The quantum cannon had erased the vessel from reality, completely. Garrick watched one of his ships vanish and felt something he had never experienced before. True fear. "What kind of weapon can do that?" he demanded. His science officer's voice was full of panic. "Sir, I am detecting quantum interference patterns. The humans appear to have weaponized space-time itself." "That is impossible. No race has ever achieved that level of technology." "The evidence suggests otherwise, sir." Across the galaxy, alien news networks struggled to understand what they were seeing. The weak human fleet had suddenly become something beyond their worst nightmares. Reporters who had been joking about human weakness now spoke in hushed, frightened voices. This cannot be real," stammered a crystalline broadcaster. "Humans cannot possess such technology. They barely achieved spaceflight a century ago." His mechanical co-host ran rapid calculations. Analyzing current data suggests previous human capability assessments were incorrect by a factor of approximately 10,000. Admiral Dong-hyun smiled as he watched Vorthak ships try to target his fleet. The ghost fleet moved through space, like a pack of hunting wolves. Their quantum stealth systems could make them visible or invisible at will. Their weapons struck without warning, erasing Vorthak vessels from existence. "Sir," his weapons officer reported, "enemy return fire is having no effect. Their plasma cannons cannot penetrate our dimensional shields." "Of course not," Dong-hyun replied. "They are firing energy weapons at barriers that exist in folded space. It is like trying to shoot a reflection." The Thunderbolt fired its main gun for the first time. The weapon created a hole in reality that stretched across half the solar system. When it hit the Vorthak battle line, 15 ships simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, erased from the universe as if they had never been built. War Commander Garrick realized his fleet was not fighting a battle. They were being hunted by predators beyond their understanding. His ships fired everything they had, but human vessels moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will. When humans fired back, Vorthak ships died without even leaving wreckage. "Behind, all ships retreat," Garrick ordered. "Fall back to hyperspace." But when his ships tried to jump to light speed, nothing happened. Captain Yoonji had activated humanity's hyperspace interdiction fields. No ship could leave the system without human permission. "Sir," his navigation officer reported, "hyperspace is blocked. We are trapped here." Garrick felt his world crumble around him. His mighty fleet was helpless. His enemies possessed technology that seemed like magic. And worst of all, these enemies had been pretending to be weak for decades. Captain Hyun-woo opened a communication channel to the Vorthak flagship. When his image appeared on Garrick's screen, the human captain was no longer afraid. His eyes were cold and his voice carried the weight of absolute power. "War Commander Garrick," Hyun-woo said calmly, "you wanted to see human military capabilities. Are you satisfied with the demonstration?" How is this possible?" Garrick could barely speak. "Your ships were weak. Your weapons were primitive. We scanned you." You scanned what we wanted you to scan, Yunwu replied. For 50 years, humanity has been preparing for this moment. Every insult, every threat, every display of alien superiority has been carefully noted and remembered. On Earth, Admiral So Young watched the battle from the Shadow Room. It was not really a battle. Anymore, it was a complete massacre. The Vorthak fleet was being erased ship by ship, and they could not even fight back effectively. Dr. Taehyun activated more quantum weapons from the planet's surface. Each shot removed another Vorthak vessel from existence. The weapons fired, in perfect silence, because they destroyed their target so completely that no sound or light escaped. How many ships have we lost? So Young asked. None, ma'am, reported her aide. The enemy has not managed to damage a single human vessel. And Vorthak losses? 217 ships erased, 83 more severely damaged. The Croak, remainder are attempting to surrender. So Young nodded. Patch me through to Garrick's flagship. When her image appeared on the Vorthak bridge, Garrick fell to his knees. The human admiral looked at him with eyes that held no mercy. You came here to destroy human colonies, So Young said. You called us insects. You laughed at our weakness. Do you understand your mistake now? Garrick's voice broke as he replied. You were never weak. This was all a lie. Not a lie, So Young corrected. A strategy. We allowed you to see weakness because it served our purposes. The moment it stopped serving our purposes, we revealed what we really are. What are you? Garrick whispered. So Young smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. We are what happens when a young race has to survive in a galaxy full of predators. We learn to hide our fangs until we needed them. Admiral Donghyun's voice came over the communication system. Ma'am, the remaining Vorthak ships are requesting permission to surrender. Denied, So Young replied without hesitation. They came here to commit genocide. They will face the consequences of that choice. The last Vorthak ships died in silence. Quantum weapons erased them so completely that not even atoms remained. In less than 10 minutes, the most feared war fleet in the galaxy had been reduced to nothing. But before his flagship, the news of the Vorthak fleet's complete destruction spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, alien leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Military commanders stared at tactical displays that showed nothing where a mighty war fleet had been just hours before. On the Vorthak homeworld, Emperor Thorak received the final message from War Commander Garrick. The recording played over and over in the Imperial Command Center. Each time, the Emperor's advisors grew more frightened. The entire fleet, whispered General Kozak. Gone. Not defeated. Erased. How is this possible? Emperor Thorak had ruled, through fear for 60 years. His fleets had conquered hundreds of worlds. No enemy had ever stood against Vorthak power for more than a few hours. Now his greatest fleet had been destroyed by the weakest race in the galaxy. Mobilize all remaining fleets, Thorak ordered. If the humans have new weapons, we will overwhelm them with numbers. But before any Vorthak ship could leave port, they appeared. Human vessels materialized in orbit around every major Vorthak world simultaneously. Not the old, weak-looking ships the galaxy had grown used to. These were the real human warships, sleek predators that moved through space like living things. General Wu Jin commanded the human expeditionary force from his flagship, the Retribution. His orders from Admiral So Young were simple: end the Vorthak Empire completely. No mercy, no prisoners, no survivors who might seek revenge later. All ships begin orbital bombardment. Wu Jin commanded. The human fleet fired weapons that the Vorthak could not understand or counter. Quantum fold. Cannons tore holes in reality itself. Matter displacement beams moved entire cities into empty space. Temporal distortion fields made Vorthak defensive systems age thousands of years in seconds. On the Vorthak capital, buildings that had stood for centuries simply vanished. Military bases disappeared without explosions or debris. The Imperial Palace, symbol of Vorthak power for generations, ceased to exist as quantum weapons erased it from all timelines. Emperor Thorak tried to escape in his personal dreadnought. The ship was larger than most space stations and protected by the finest armor the Vorthak could build. It lasted exactly 17 seconds against human weapons. Within 3 days, the Vorthak Empire was gone. Not conquered, erased. Every military installation, every government building, every symbol of their power had been removed from existence. The worlds remained, but stripped of everything that had made them dangerous. The galaxy watched in horror as the most feared. Empire in known space was eliminated completely. Alien news networks showed empty orbital spaces where Vorthak fleets had been. Reporters spoke in whispered voices, afraid that speaking too loudly might attract human attention. The Vorthak Empire, which has terrorized the galaxy for over 2 centuries, no longer exists, announced one trembling broadcaster. In less than 72 hours, humanity has accomplished what every other race thought impossible. In the Galactic Council chamber, emergency sessions ran day and night. Representatives from major powers demanded explanations from Ambassador Jinne, but the human ambassador was no longer the pleading, desperate woman they remembered. "You want explanations?" Jinne asked the packed chamber. "Very well. For 50 years, humanity has been building the most advanced military force in galactic history. While you laughed at our primitive ships, we were developing technology that makes your weapons look like stone tools." The crystalline delegate from the hierarchy spoke with a voice like breaking glass. "You deceived us. You pretended to be weak while building weapons of mass destruction. We survived," Jinne corrected. "In a galaxy where every major power views conquest as natural, we did what we had to do. Would you have preferred we announced our capabilities early and started an arms race?" The machine representative from the Unity calculated rapidly. Analysis suggests galactic war probability would have approached 97% if human capabilities had been revealed gradually. "Exactly," Jinne agreed. "So we chose the path that minimized galactic casualties. We hid our strength until threatened with genocide. The Vorthak forced our hand." Captain Yunji stood in her intelligence headquarters on Earth, watching reports flow in from across the galaxy. Every major alien government was desperately trying to determine what else humanity had hidden from them. "Status report," Admiral So Young asked as she entered the command center. "Panic, ma'am," Yunji replied with satisfaction. "The crystalline hierarchy is recalling all fleets to defensive positions. The Unity has suspended all expansion programs. The Dominion is requesting immediate diplomatic contact." "What about our deep cover agents?" Yunji smiled. "That is the interesting part. Now that we have revealed our military power, the aliens are starting to realize how thoroughly we have infiltrated their societies. They are finding our people everywhere. For decades, humans had placed agents throughout alien civilization. The refugees fleeing human space had actually been trained operatives. The traders selling human goods had been gathering intelligence. The diplomats begging for mercy had been mapping alien defenses. On the crystalline homeworld, security, forces discovered that half their government's technical advisors were actually human agents. The Unity found human infiltrators in their core programming systems. The Dominion learned that many of their psychic advisors were humans using advanced technology to fake mental powers. "How long have you been watching us?" The crystalline Emperor demanded during an emergency communication with Jinne. "Since our first contact," Jinne replied honestly. "Did you think we would enter galactic society without learning everything we could about our neighbors?" The Emperor's crystalline form flickered with anger. "You have been spying on us for decades. Of course. Just as you have been planning how to divide our territory among yourselves. The difference is that we were better at it." The revelation hit alien governments like a physical blow. Every secret they thought they had kept, every plan they had, made every weakness they had tried to hide. Humanity knew it all. Dr. Tae-hyun worked in his laboratory, putting the finishing touches on humanity's next revelation. The quantum weapons had been impressive, but they were just the beginning. Project Nightfall included technologies that would reshape the galaxy itself. "Are the reality anchors stable?" he asked his assistant, Dr. Min Seo. "All quantum foundations are solid, sir. We can now modify physical laws within localized areas." "Excellent. And the dimensional gateways?" "Fully operational. We can move fleets instantly across galactic distances." Tae-hyun nodded with satisfaction. The aliens had seen humanity's weapons. Soon they would discover that humans had also mastered space, time, and the fundamental forces of reality itself. On distant worlds, alien military leaders tried to develop countermeasures against human technology. But how do you fight weapons that erase targets from existence? How do you defend against enemies who can change the laws of physics? The hierarchy's greatest scientists worked desperately to understand quantum fold technology. Their crystalline minds, which could perform millions of calculations per second, simply could not grasp the mathematics involved. The humans have broken every known law of physics, reported Chief Scientist Cathera. Their weapons should not be possible to build, much less use. Then how are they using them? Demanded the Emperor. The only explanation is that they have discovered new laws of physics that we do not understand, laws that make our technology look primitive. The Unity faced the same problem. Their machine intelligence, which had absorbed the scientific knowledge of dozens of conquered races, could not replicate human achievements. The quantum technology was beyond their comprehension. Analysis complete, announced Central Processing. Unit 7. Human technology operates on principles that exceed our current understanding by approximately 1,000%. Define 1,000%, requested CPU-1. The gap between human and Unity technology is equivalent to the gap between Unity technology and that of pre-spaceflight civilizations. The machines fell into stunned silence. For the first time in their existence, they had encountered beings more advanced than themselves. Admiral So Young called a meeting of the Shadow Council. The 12 most important humans in the galaxy gathered in the underground room that had planned their species' survival. The galaxy knows our military strength now, So Young began, but they still do not understand our true capabilities. Should we reveal more? General Wu Jin leaned back in his chair. I vote for complete revelation. Let them see everything. The dimensional gateways, the reality manipulation, the time loop weapons. Show them that what we have revealed so far is just the beginning. That might cause total galactic panic, warned Dr. Tae-hyun. Some races might choose suicide over surrender. Let them, Wu Jin replied coldly. Fear is the only language bullies understand. Admiral Dong-hyun disagreed. We should be more subtle. Reveal our capabilities gradually. Let them adjust to each new shock before hitting them with the next one. So Young considered their options. What is the current mood among alien governments? Captain Yoon-ji consulted her reports. Terror, mostly. The major powers are competing to offer us favorable treaties. The smaller races are begging for protection. Everyone wants to be on humanity's good side now. Good. Then we continue with measured revelations. Let them understay. 6 months after the Vorthak Empire ceased to exist, the galaxy operated under a completely new reality. The Galactic Council chambers, once filled with the arrogant voices of species convinced of their superiority, now held sessions in respectful silence whenever humans spoke. Admiral So Young walked into the council chamber wearing the uniform of her new position, Supreme Military Coordinator of Galactic Defense. The title had been created specifically for her by a unanimous vote of all remaining alien governments. They had learned that it was better to give humans official authority than to risk accidentally offending them. Honored council members, So Young began, addressing the alien delegates who sat in carefully arranged seats that placed humanity at the center of all decisions. Today we will discuss the establishment of the new galactic defense grid. The crystalline delegate from the Yao hierarchy spoke carefully. Honored Admiral, might we ask what this defense grid will defend against? So Young smiled. Against anyone foolish enough to threaten galactic peace. The universe is vast. There may be other aggressive species beyond our current borders. When they arrive, they will find a galaxy united under human protection. What the aliens did not know was that humanity had already encountered such species. Deep space monitoring stations had detected signs of approaching fleets from distant galaxies. These newcomers would find a very different reception than they expected. Dr. Tae-hyun had been appointed as Director of Galactic Sciences, overseeing technological development for the entire known galaxy. His first decree had been a complete ban on weapons research that could threaten civilian populations. The ban was enforced by human monitoring stations that could detect forbidden research from thousands of light years away. Sir, Dr. Minseo reported from her new laboratory on the crystalline homeworld. The hierarchy's scientists are requesting permission to study quantum mechanics. Denied, Taehyun replied without hesitation. They are not ready for such knowledge. Perhaps in a few hundred years, when they have learned wisdom. The aliens had discovered that human technology was not just more advanced. It was so far beyond their understanding that they could not even comprehend the basic principles involved. Human scientists spoke casually about manipulating time, folding space, and rewriting the laws of physics as if these were simple engineering problems. Captain Hyunwoo struggled with the changes in his life. For 30 years, he had hidden his ship's true power, pretending to be weak while carrying enough firepower to destroy star systems. Now he commanded a fleet of vessels that made his old ship look primitive. Sir, Lieutenant Jae-min said during their morning briefing, the new Unity delegation is requesting an escort to the peace talks on Centauri Prime. Approved, Hyunwoo replied, but remind them that our escort ships are capable of destroying their entire homeworld if they attempt. Any deception, it was a strange new universe. The machine Unity, which had once considered biological life inefficient, now sought human approval for their expansion programs. The crystalline hierarchy, which had viewed other races as inferior, now begged for human protection against potential threats. Captain Yoon-ji directed the largest intelligence network in galactic history from her headquarters on Earth. Every major alien government had requested human advisors to help them improve their security. These advisors were actually intelligence agents who reported every significant decision back to Earth. Status report, Admiral So-young requested during her weekly briefing. Complete compliance across all monitored sectors, Yoon-ji reported. The major powers are competing to be more helpful to humanity. The hierarchy has offered to build new cities for our expanding population. The Unity wants to provide manufacturing support for our fleet expansion. The Dominion is sharing psychic research data. And resistance movements? Down to less than 2% of pre-revelation levels. Most opposition groups disbanded after we demonstrated the orbital bombardment capabilities. The demonstration had been carefully planned. When a small coalition of rim worlds declared independence from the new galactic order, humanity had responded with overwhelming force. Not by destroying the rebellious worlds, that would have been wasteful. Instead, they had used reality manipulation technology to move the rebels' entire star system to the edge of empty space, far from any trade routes or allies. The rebels found themselves alive but completely isolated, with no way to threaten anyone or receive support from sympathizers. The message was clear. Resistance would not be destroyed, but it would be made irrelevant. General Wu Jin enjoyed his new role as head of the Galactic Defense Force. For the first time in his military career, he commanded aliens instead of hiding from them. The former Vorthak military bases had been converted into training centers where alien officers learned human tactical doctrine. Today we will study the concept of proportional response, Wu Jin told a class of mixed alien officers. When someone threatens you, you do not destroy them immediately. You demonstrate enough power to make them stop, then offer them a chance to be useful. A young crystalline officer raised her hand. Honored General, what if they refuse to be useful? Wu Jin smiled. Then you remove them from the equation entirely. The Vorthak chose that path. They no longer exist to choose anything else. The classroom fell silent. Even months later, aliens struggled to understand how completely the mighty Vorthak Empire had been erased, not conquered or defeated, simply removed from reality as if they had never existed. Ambassador Jin A worked from the new human embassy on Galactic Prime, the capital world of the Reformed Council. The building was the largest structure on the planet, designed to remind everyone who really held power in the galaxy. The Free Galaxy Alliance has made another request to meet with you, her aide reported. Still refusing to accept human authority?
Jin-A asked. They claim to represent free worlds that reject tyranny.
Jin-A laughed. Schedule a meeting. It is time to explain reality to them. The Free Galaxy Alliance represented the last organized resistance to human dominance. 12 minor races had banded together, claiming they would rather die free than live under human rule. Their leaders arrived at the embassy expecting to negotiate as equals. They found themselves in a meeting room where the walls showed recordings of the Vorthak fleet's destruction. As they watched mighty warships simply cease to exist, their confidence began to fade. "Gentlemen," Ginny addressed the alien delegation, "you claim to represent free worlds, but freedom is meaningless without the power to protect it. Your combined fleets could not survive 10 minutes against a single human patrol vessel." The delegation's leader, a reptilian creature from the Rim world, spoke with false bravery. "We would rather die fighting than bow to tyrants." "Tyrants?" Ginny seemed genuinely puzzled. "Tell me, which human policies do you find tyrannical? The ban on genocide? The requirement for peaceful dispute resolution? The protection of trade routes from pirates?" The alien struggled to answer. Since humans had taken control, galactic crime rates had dropped to historic lows. Trade was safer and more profitable than ever. Wars between alien races had completely stopped. You spy on us," the alien finally said. "Of course we do. How else can we prevent conflicts before they start? Your own intelligence reports show a 70% reduction in interspecies tensions since human oversight began." Ginny stood and walked to the window overlooking the capital city. "Look out there. Do you see oppression, or do you see the most peaceful and prosperous the galaxy has been in centuries?" The aliens looked out at a city where dozens of species worked and lived together without conflict. Human peacekeepers maintained order not through force, but through the knowledge that human technology could solve any problem instantly. "We offer you the same choice we gave everyone else," Ginny continued. "Join the new galactic community and prosper under human protection, or remain independent and irrelevant. But understand that active resistance will be met with the same response the Vorthak received." The delegation left without giving an answer, but Ginny knew they would be back. Fear was a powerful teacher, and the alternative to cooperation was too terrible to contemplate. Captain Minho commanded humanity's newest technological achievement, the Dimensional Gateway Network. His ship, the Defiance, could now travel instantly between any 2 points in the galaxy using quantum fold technology that made traditional faster-than-light travel look primitive. "Sir," his navigation officer reported, "long-range sensors are detecting approaching vessels from the Andromeda galaxy. Estimated arrival in 18 months. Minho smiled. "Inform Admiral So Young. It seems we are about to have visitors." The approaching fleet was massive, thousands of ships using technology that would have terrified the old galaxy, but they were heading toward a very different galaxy than the one they expected to find. Dr. Tae-hyun received the report about the approaching aliens with scientific curiosity rather than fear. "Interesting. Their energy signature suggests they have discovered antimatter weapons. Quite impressive for a pre-quantum civilization." "Should we prepare defenses?" asked Dr. Min Seo. "Defenses? No. Prepare a demonstration. When they arrive, we want them to understand immediately what kind of galaxy they have entered." Admiral So Young called an emergency meeting of the Shadow Council. The